far. He's playing really well today. Qatars are in a pretty good spot right now. The Qatar players might be coming out of the woodwork a little bit. I know Wrenched was happy with some of the recent changes to Qatars, with getting more impulse, dash impulse on the side light. So we'll see if Stingray is able to get past Boomie, because Boomie will have a weapon in his hands that deals very well with someone right on top of you up close and personal, and that's the gauntlets.
And Boomie, of course, going to be starting this one off with the forearms, that crossover, mirroring the abilities of Core. He's been doing really well with these gauntlets too, getting very long extended strings and then utilizing the range of these signatures to catch his opponents with slide charges or just on stage straight horizontal range.
And that harkens back to people would always ask questions in the past like, oh, who's the best hammer? Who's the best gauntlet player? Who's the best spear player? And my answer for a very long time was always Boomie whenever he decides to play that weapon. And I think that's partially extended over to his gauntlets. He's done so many good things that gauntlets have as tools in their kit. Like he just throws the moves out really well. He can also hit the GC light into the nair, into the recovery pretty consistently, and it's not easy. He gets reads really well. He gets reactions really well. He uses the signatures really well. He's having a tough time this game, though, against Stingray, and this is on small Brawlhaven. This is where, like, Boomie was flourishing earlier. He was playing really well on the small stages and not as well on the big stages. But here's Stingray's eating his lunch!
I mean, I didn't want to say it, but pre-top 8, Stingray 3-0'd Boomie quite handedly, and there was the hope for the salty run back here in the losers semifinal, but Boomie is just getting got again. Stingray looking like he could start off game 1 with a 3 stock if he can get the next 2 stocks off of Boomie. Good dodges, but Boomie with a nice neutral light. Down air will interrupt, but the wake up side air looking like a chosen bot. Stingray gonna get another stock off of Boomie.
Now Stingray did get 3 stocks in the previous set that they played together. Definitely very confidently took that. But you saw towards the end, like, you could see it in his play. Boomie basically gave up. He was done. He was ready to move on from that set and go down into the loser's bracket. I don't know if that's the case here. Obviously, we're not seeing game 3 Boomie here in game 1. So I don't know. I still got high hopes for Boomie here. His gauntlets have been looking really good today, but Stingray, man, not playing necessarily the most on meta with this Asuri pick.
There's definitely something like awkward about Boomie's movement, though, for me personally. Like, he's just kind of running forward at Stingray, and Stingray just keeps catching him moving forward. Gets him with downlights as Boomie's trying to land, just consistently outspacing Boomie and then punishing him at every point. Look at how Boomie's just walking into these neutral lights. Stingray's hitting him with 3 neutral lights.
Yeah, Boomie's, I think he's got to be basically done. Going into 3 neutral lights, not a good look for the mental of Boomie going forward. Set's not done. This is just game 1. The GC down signature. Still isn't able to find this KO. D-Sig again coming out, gets punished with the recovery. 2 stocks on Stingray, 0 on Boomie. Going into the next one.
Looking born broken right now. He's going to switch over to the Yumiko. This is an interesting pick. I am a fan of the Yumiko. I think Bo's in a great place right now. But the last time I remember Boomie playing Yumiko, he went pretty far in the winner's bracket, and then it just started to fall apart. And that's what I'm worried about right now, is if he's already fallen apart with the core, is he going to just fall further with this Yumiko? We'll find out as we get into game number 2 versus Stingray sticking on the Asuri.
Now, he does have the hammer carryover from core. I wasn't really feeling his hammer last game, and he's already getting chopped up a little bit this game so far. Throws out the wisps, goes for the dash jump side air to then cover further beyond that in the air. More wisps coming out. I expect those to be a major part of his gameplay here. I think it'll continue as well when he has the bow. That will hopefully cover a grounded approach from Stingray. Neutral light, turnaround neutral light.
Stingray is catching these dodge downs from Boomie, just completely reading it. He's done it a couple of times already. Gonna chase after that neutral signature. Now we're seeing Boomie's bow come out, throws out the down sig in the wrong direction, but it is kind of bringing him back in here. He's getting the damage put out. Could see Stingray in the red soon.
Good side air, could set up for the edge guard here. Stingray's able to get back. Boomie's a little bit afraid. Oh, gets priority with the side light. Not able to turn it into anything more than that. Strips the field of the weapon, picks up the hammer. Stomp side air for the KO. Going to be able to get his pick of the litter here in terms of weapons. Gonna juggle them right as Stingray spawns back in. Oh! The neutral heavy comes in.
And Stingray just taking a quick drive around the block before picking up the sword, going to be sticking with this sword, switches over to the Katars, and Boomie's got no weapon spawns. Waiting for the spawn, but Stingray right on top of it. He has got the coverage. Boomie picks up the hammer.
These weapon tosses from Stingray have got to be so tilting. Like, he'll throw out a neutral light on sword and immediately toss his weapon. He'll throw out a side light and immediately toss his weapon right after. And he doesn't do it every time, so you can't consistently avoid it. It's just, it'd be very irritating. If I was playing against that in ranked, I would be very mauled.
Yeah, like, Boomie looks pretty irritated right now with the way that he's playing, but again, back to the bow, suddenly all the confidence comes in. He seems like his hammer is just not the answer to Stingray's Katars.
Did see him throw out the wisps a couple times on the bow. Will possibly cover a grounded approach from Stingray. Great punish there on Boomie's read with that neutral signature. Going a little bit too far off stage for comfort. Stingray capitalizes, gets the KO. Hammer now in Boomie's hands against Stingray's sword. There's the side light. He backs up just a little bit. They're just kind of going back and forth. Stingray's on the left, now Boomie's on the left. Stingray's on the left, now Boomie's on the left. Now Stingray went far enough to the left that he was able to get the KO. Boomie coming back in with the bow. Definitely the weapon I would want to see him more on. D-Light into the neutral light. Doesn't get the recovery follow-up. He's over on the right side of the stage on that soft platform.
He's playing very safe right now. Wants to utilize the range advantage, but the second he starts moving forward, Stingray gets the punish. Went for the bow down air into the ground pound. Stingray able to dodge out. And now Boomie starting to show some trouble here as Stingray drops the downlight side air. One more downlight side air, and Boomie is basically going to be knockout.
That neutral light sent him really far. Stingray going back over to the sword. The second swipe of the side air is going to put Boomie in not a great spot here. D-Light recovery is going to do it. 2 games up here in this best of 3. Stingray in a great spot.
Yeah, this is looking really good for Stingray, and Boomie recognizes that the bow at least worked a little bit against Stingray, so he's going to be going over to the Koji for a higher dexterity bow, and he'll have the sword as well, considering the hammer didn't work too hot against Stingray. But now, this is the last legs of Boomie. This is game 3. Boomie, if he loses here, Stingray will get that top 3 finish, and Boomie will be knocked out of the tournament.
Now this Koji pick, he's going to have the bow carryover. Again, he's been carrying over one weapon at a time. It now hasn't been the same weapon as he carried over the hammer. Now he carried over the bow. But he's going to go sword v sword against Stingray. We're already about 20 seconds into this game, and Stingray hasn't found any major damage. So definitely great improvement from before. Again, neutral light into the weapon toss.
Yeah, just those weapon toss pressure moments from Stingray. And it's not like he's using them super long range the way that you'll see some other people use weapon tosses as like ways to open up their opponents. Stingray's using them incredibly close in some situations. There, he's going to swap weapons. Over to the sword for the mirror match. Boomie playing this vertical game against Stingray right now.
We've seen a lot of movement coming out from Boomie. Goes for the D-Sig. Oh, punish! And then a counter punish.
Didn't hit the down
man.
Nice punish.
He was so close. Stingray got just above it with his sword recovery, but Boomie's still able to find the KO in a good spot here. Around 100 damage on this stock. Weapon spawn comes in. Recovery sends Boomie high. Stingray easily able to grab the weapon. It's Katars in his hands. Side light, in light. Again goes for that turnaround in light. Doesn't get it this time. Caught dodging in. With the signature from Stingray, Boomie over on the edge. Has to be careful how high he plays. He goes high. In comes the recovery from Stingray. That's not going to KO, but then the nair there to finish him off.
Completely even that one up with the sword play. Now it's back to the mirror match. Nice neutral sig reading the dodge in from Stingray, but he tries to side light the neutral light from Stingray, and the neutral light just has that priority. Again, it's just so even between the two of them, except for the fact that Boomie's down 2 games against Stingray.
Boomie definitely has the movement, and he's got the groovement. You're seeing him go left and right really fast before he actually commits to anything, whether he wants to fade forward, fade away, fast fall down, throw out a move. Like, look at all of that movement that comes from Boomie, even running all the way to the right side, now all the way to the left side of the stage. Just trying to create space, figure out when he wants to move in from Stingray, and even with all this movement in the world, Stingray's still coming out on top here. GC D-Light recovery, not enough to KO, even with that little bit of boost that he got off the ground for the GC D-Light.
Down air is coming out from Boomie. Couldn't get the second one. Would have been nice. Neutral air not even enough to put Stingray off screen. Still needs a lot more damage, but Stingray only needs the downlight into the recovery. Didn't even have to dare for the extra damage to guarantee it. And Boomie now on tournament stock here. He has to get this stock off of Stingray.
It's going to be tough. The sword is coming in for Boomie. Definitely looks like his not as confident weapon, because the way he was playing bow, you compare that movement and confidence and initiation and choosing when to attack, compare that to his sword. He did find the KO quickly. He's opting for the sword. Interesting.
Yo, that was wild. Boomie on the respawn picked up the sword and literally didn't throw out an attack until it was that side sig for the knockout. He just used his movement, waited, and hoped for the opportunity. Stingray gave him that opening, and he got the knockout.
He's playing sword kind of like old school EU. Like, he's floating a lot. He's not going for the D-Light stairs, D-Light recoveries, or at least they're not hitting as much. So a lot of his moves are just dares and nairs, the occasional sidelight, the occasional recovery.
Just kind of chipping away at the opponent. If that was his strategy, which I feel like is a strategy he came up with mid-match, but if that was what he had going into this, I would have liked to see a higher strength character. Maybe something with a hammer like a Scarlet or a Taros that you just like, if you're going to try to just chunk away at your opponent per hit, then might as well get the biggest chunks possible.
Again, he's not throwing out D-Light stairs, D-Light recoveries, no D-Light dare recovery. It's like, it's just single hit moves, and then they just kind of reset, or Boomie tries to punish a landing. But again, the punish is going to be a neutral light. It's going to be a nair. It's going to be a dare. We're not seeing any sword momentum from Boomie, but also Stingray's not really getting much momentum either. Stingray is behind here. Boomie needs to get the KO. He needs to win this game if he wants to stay alive.
And he will with the downlight into the recovery. Boomie going to hold on in game number 3. We're going to game number 4. Stingray sticking with the Asuri. And I think, like, you kind of hit the nail on the head with the way that game was playing out towards the tail end, where it was basically very small neutral wins. Boomie just kind of getting enough neutral wins that he's going to ultimately win the game. And a big reason for that is because if you go back and watch the last 3 games, Stingray loves to do wake-up attacks. So every time Boomie tried to maintain pressure, tried to go forward after getting a hit, Stingray shut it down immediately. So Boomie's like, all right, I'll just win in neutral, and I don't have to worry about this pressure as long as I can ultimately hit you more than you hit me.
Now, one thing that'll be interesting to see is how Stingray adapts in this game to not only the way Boomie's playing, but also Stingray is very deep in this tournament. This tournament's been going on for a long time. It started even earlier today than normal. Stream was at the same time, but tournament was a little bit earlier than normal. So Boomie definitely has more experience going deep in bracket, playing long tournaments, waiting for games to happen, all of the above. Stingray, it seems like he's doing great against it.
Yeah, really not showing any signs of fatigue at all as he gets the dunk down, and Boomie going to lose that first stock to the Asuri neutral signature.
That's a bad way to start this game. If you look at last game, it was like 4.5 minutes, almost 5 minutes for the entire game. So Boomie wanted to slow things down. He was getting chip after chip. They would kind of trade blows back and forth. No huge lead for either player. But now that Stingray has a massive lead, has Boomie in orange on his second stock already, It's just not a good look for the way Boomie wants to play this game against Stingray.
This is looking real rough for the Boomie. Stingray looking so strong here in game number 4. Already a full stock lead over Boomie, and another one. The down signature will put Boomie back to tournament stock, but 3 stocks left on Stingray.
Now, if you look at their past tournament history, in the past year, Boomie and Stingray only met each other in tournament once. And Boomie lost that one, and it's looking like he might lose this one as well. Does get the stock with the down signature, the Tatami Mat coming in clutch for Boomie. Swaps back over to the bow, away from the sword, different than what he did before. Now picking up a second bow. Stingray disarmed.
Boomie going to try to play that weapon denial game. It's going to be so important because Stingray, when he has the guitars, just has the read onto Boomie's movement. We've seen him catch Boomie dodging down. We've seen him catch Boomie dodging away as well. Like, Stingray just has every single punish onto Boomie.
Yeah, even though Boomie had weapon control for an extended period of time, it's like it didn't matter. He found like 3 hits onto Stingray. Stingray also found a couple hits onto him, but it's like he was just delaying the inevitable. He wasn't able to turn that into any damage, any lead, any stocks, anything like that. And now Boomie finds himself in the red, possibly final stock in the tournament here in Game 4. He's going to have to mount a massive comeback, which I don't even know if that's doable with the way Boomie's been playing this set so far.
He needs a Gimp. It has basically become to the point where he has to get a Gimp onto Stingray, something that he has yet to do in this game, yet to do in a set against Stingray. And Stingray, one more side air, one recovery, and Boomie is gone. Nice ground pound. Keeping him barely alive, but he cannot afford to take any hit from anything with variable force.
That was a KO in orange, too. That was a good place to start. Weapon Spawn's going to come in, and a neutral light from the left side of the stage. Stingray gets the KO onto Boomie, knocks him out of the tournament. That is another set victory in there. A little bit not playing very much with each other in tournaments, even though they've been around for a little while now, but still huge knockout for Stingray going in. He's going to be guaranteed top 3. He's going to be fighting Phazon next, but man, that was kind of a grind.
Yeah, that was definitely tough. Boomie was fighting for his dear life, just trying to do everything in his power to slow down Stingray. But when Stingray got the momentum, just completely started running over. Boomie had the neutral game, had the movement in that.